What's up, Ragin Nation? How y'all doing? This is Alex. You watching the Ragin Ronin review. It has been a while since I did a movie review for you guys, and I really miss doing this review. So here I am, back at it again. The Ragin Ronin review is in full effect. 3 weeks ago, I saw The Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger is a movie based off of a TV show from the 1950s and a radio show of the 1930s of the same name. It is brought to you from the same team that brought you the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. That would be Disney Studios, director Gore Verbinski, and producer Jerry Bruckheimer, who in the 90s was my all-time favorite producer because he produced a lot of mega blockbuster, big action movies. Anyways, here they are back with another big movie. That would be The Lone Ranger, big budget action movie. And when I do this review, I'm just going to let you know that I have no knowledge of the previous TV series and radio show that it's based off of. So I'm just going to review this movie as a standalone movie. Anyways, I feel that when the filmmakers decided to make this movie, they were trying to replicate the success of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. They were looking for that new franchise to build a franchise out of, and that would be The Lone Ranger. And let me tell you something, this movie isn't that movie to build a franchise out of because it is a really quite a forgettable movie. It really is. And I think the biggest problem with this movie is it is just too long. When Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End came out, if you remember quite vividly, the movie was really long, clocking in at almost 3 hours. And I think that when Gore Verbinski decided to make The Lone Ranger, he still had Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End still fresh in his mind, and he wanted to keep that formula, and that is have this big long movie, and just the way it was structured is that it's got a big action sequence in the beginning, a big action sequence, like an even bigger action sequence in the end of the movie, but nothing really a whole lot going on in the middle. And that's a huge problem with the movie because you're trying to keep the audience's attention, but you're really not. And they did a really poor job with that because the pacing is just completely off. So you got something really exciting going on at the beginning, nothing in the middle, and then something big at the end. And by the time we get to the end, we're all tired out. Some of us have already walked out of the theater, and some of us are just not invested enough into the characters that we don't really care what happens to them. And that is the problem for the movie. Now, a lot of people are thinking, wait a minute, this is a Johnny Depp movie. He should at least be fun to watch. I think that's the only thing that the movie has going for itself, and that is Johnny Depp playing another wacky character. Now, some people might think that, you know, he's playing a version of Jack Sparrow and a more, I guess, dumbed down and boring, bland version of Jack Sparrow. That's how I like to reference his character of Tonto, because if you've seen Jack Sparrow, you've pretty much seen the best version or the most versatile version of Johnny Depp. Tonto was really not much of a stretch for Johnny Depp. He's really not that interesting to watch except for his little facial expressions and him cracking the occasional a joke at Armie Hammer, which would be playing the character of the Lone Ranger. As for Armie Hammer, man, I think that he doesn't really do a good job playing the lead role. He's a very whiny character. Maybe that's the way the character was portrayed, like in the original series, but he was just not a whole lot of fun to watch. And you'd think that, you know, they would be feeding you off each other's characters, right? Each character would be feeding off each other to create some good chemistry. There really is no chemistry between these characters. If there is chemistry, it's poor chemistry. And one thing about the action is that, or rather, before I talk about the rest of the action, let me talk about what happens in the middle. It takes a very long time for the title character to become the title character. It's a very slow development, and it's a very roller coaster ride of a development. He wants to be the Lone Ranger, and then he doesn't become the Lone Ranger, and then he becomes the Lone Ranger, and he doesn't become the Lone Ranger just because he doesn't know what he wants. And I think that's a problem for the movie, and it creates some sort of annoyance for the character. Annoyance for the audience. The audience is getting a little bit annoyed, and we're just waiting for this character to be the Lone Ranger, and it's taking forever. So anyways, that's what I gotta say about the characters. And as for the action, I don't think it's a very creative, because it's a Western movie. It's a movie that takes place in the Wild Wild West, and yet there's not a whole lot of Western style action. There's no gunfights in saloons. There's no horseback chases. There's no there's not a whole lot going on other than train fights. There's fighting in the train, there's fighting on top of the train, and there's even fighting on the side of the train and jumping from train to train. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of anything else going on. And I think that is just, it just creates for lack of creativity. Okay, there's not a whole lot of creativity with the action sequence. They could have done a little bit more with that, but all they have is just really over the top train fighting. And it's still exciting and it's still fun to watch, but I'm not invested in the story and the characters a whole lot, just because in the middle I'm just bored out of my mind, and at the end of the day it wasn't a very good movie. So that's unfortunate, but what can you do? 4.5 out of 10 is what I give this movie, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Enjoyed this video review, and I hope you guys enjoyed the movie, because I really didn't. It was really, really boring. And there you have it. That's my review. Stay tuned for my next review, where I review the Pacific Rim, okay? Pacific Rim will be my new review, my next review. Stay tuned for that, alright? As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation, and also follow me on Twitter, @RaginNation. My name is Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. It's actually quite well filmed. I watched it and I thought her character was weak. You know, there weren't this movie. I think there's probably only 1 or 2 weeks left. And for the only other mutant in the movie,